on your desk, if you go to the school webpage, under PBS, you should be able to click right on the link. And there's also a QR code for our techie people. There's a code right there, QR scan.
There's a chair up front. Go ahead, take probably hold that. Oh, thought it'd be easier to do that. There you go.
Right. That's a good song for this one, right? Hey, Gonzalez. How you doing? You playing for us?
That's basically it. If you made it to the PBS page, it's right there on the second line. It says click here for the 2017-2018 survey. PBS on the right hand side of the main page. Then second line.
One more, Mr. Turner. You all right? Good. Feel great. I know you do.
I'm actually ready to go.
Solo. Partnerships unnecessary. Yeah. Go upstairs.
At least you got something. My question is always, wait a minute, because I stood with that as we were doing the survey. There's one right there, bro. Yeah. She went to another one. Morning, gentlemen. Just trying to get an idea where everybody is. Go to the main page. Then scroll down to PBS. And climate survey should be, there it is, staff survey. Yes, she did. But she wanted you to do the survey first. Oh, you did? Miss Chandler, how do they get to our doc?
Dr. Carter sent an email as we speak.
Okay. Check your email and you can get the slides.
Yes.
Dr. Carter sent an email. I say we should keep going soon, and if they don't finish, they can finish.
Later? Okay.
Yeah.
those times.
We don't want to, yeah, because we're not going to have enough every day.
All right, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Staff survey. Let's hope this needs to go.
I added that because one person and this kind of speaks to your just hit the red button.
All right, so good morning, everyone. And listen, I want to say thank you for this great opportunity. This is my first time talking to my colleagues on this level, so I'm nervous. So I'm nervous. I'm breathing hard. My chest is panting. Just going up and down. So y'all, for those of you who pray, pray. For those of you who care about me, okay? I'm a little nervous, but just so happy to have this opportunity. Today we're talking about classroom climate and checking your thermostat, and what I don't want it to come across as we know something that you don't know. As you all know, right, our school district is pushing content and pedagogy really heavy, right? A lot of conversation about teaching, and practices, but that conversation needs to be balanced out with the other side. So that's pushing a lot of IQ. Well, we're here to talk about the other important concept, which is EQ, which is emotional intelligence. And so classroom climate, that thing that really, really matters. And it's funny that Mr. Smith is a math teacher which operates a lot on the left side of the brain, right? And I'm an early childhood teacher, a lot of creativity operating on the other side of the brain, the right side of the brain, and we're here together to talk about classroom climate. So thank you for the opportunity, and if you have any questions, comments, please jump in there. Let's have a dialogue. Let's talk to each other, look each other in the eye, and make this, which could be a painful experience, a good experience. Y'all with me?
Yes.
If you down, I'm down. You down?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so today's our objective for the workshop is to bring awareness to the significance of EQ, which is emotional intelligence, and setting classroom culture. Go ahead, tell us what.
We have a definition of EQ further along, I guess the psychology definition. But I saw this in one of the papers, and somewhere in here there are going to be links, and I just edited them. But you can link to the full article from my clipping. But emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. And they go on to tell you what the skills are, but the ability to manage emotions, which includes regulating your own emotions and cheering up or calming down other people, is basically what we're trying to do all day long. And until we can do that, they're not going to listen. So, yes, our objective is to teach, but we also have to grab their attention, and not just their attention, you almost have to grab them right here. If you can grab them here, then they'll pretty much follow you anywhere. Next.
Our objective is to perceive the needs of students and find ways to modify our classroom climate as necessary. So, if you're too hot, what do? You cool down, right? If you're too cold, what do? You warm up. And the reality of it is, my class can get really, really warm, and so I have to cool it down. And Mr. Smith or a math class, a science class can get really, really cold, and we need to warm it up. So it's just balancing the day, balancing the room. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So we're going to talk about climate, and we're going to share ideas with our colleagues, and just share out and vent a little bit in a good way.
Yes. Contrary to popular belief, we control the classroom environment. When I walk in that room, actually before I walk in a room, when I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to go. Please forgive me. I get here like 6 in the morning because I'm not ready unless I feel like I'm here and I'm situated. But we set that tone when we see them in the morning. I try to set that tone the first day of school when we have our icebreakers and the rest of that. One of the things I tell the kids is that I'm going to learn your name within the next month. And really, my goal is 3 weeks. I want to know their name, and I want to know a little bit of something about them.
And I just want to jump in there and say real quick, he gets here 6 in the morning, I am running in the door at 7:20. And it is like, you have to, just jump into action. And mind you, I fight with 4 kids in the morning and a dog. And the reality of it is, when does it come on? For me, it might not come on till, so 7:20, 8:45, it might turn on for me. But we're different strokes for different folks, right? But at some point, we have to get that climate on. All right, so if you have a QR reader, you can do the rate your class with us. If you do not, hopefully you got the email, you'll share it. Can you check your Google Doc? So it should be in your email. If you check your email, you should see this presentation. You don't see it?
Not in a link from Dr. Carter?
No.
Okay.
You can do the QR for the link to the classroom.
Yeah, you can do the QR reader, but a lot of people don't have it, so Dr. Carter's supposed to be sharing it. I can go ahead and do this real quick. If you guys, can you share?
To forward that email?
Yes.
To everybody? So I have to forward it to everybody.
So just, grab the share. And then, yeah, and then.
I do.
To mail. New.
101.
Okay.
101.
All right, hold tight.
I don't want that. Everybody.
Everybody.
And put that in there, paste, and then give it a title.
Yes.
Title is,
Yes,
classroom time. Sending the link now. But it's a little Padlet where you can just write down the temperature of your classroom or what you think that means. Because I think that's one of the things that's going to come out.
So
What do you think that means?
on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you rate yourself? 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 being somewhere in between, right?
Yep. Changes daily. Changes minute.
Is everybody in? Getting in?
¿Cómo es esto?
Yeah.
Classroom temperature?
Con 20 minutos.
Is it coming through?
I see 5s.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we're just going to share out what you guys have popping up. And I see a lot of 4s up there. I see changing daily, 3.5, 5, no 1 so far, so that's kind of amazing. Varies each period. So that challenges the argument that the climate is set by us, right? If it changes each period, we don't change each period, right? So that counters that concept. That's something to explore.
We set the thermostat, but we don't control the climate.
68 and sunny. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that, 3? Or that's a 5, right?
Clark, are you pop-up?
No, that's me.
That's you. That's something crazy to me,
Makes
but
me feel old.
they call you Papa.
But I can't tell them that, because they mean it in a good way. But it makes me feel ancient. I stopped dyeing my hair. White. They started calling Papa. And I'm dyeing it.
Okay, we'll come back to that. If you can, keep posting.
What's that?
We're gonna come back to that. We'll
All right.
keep posting. All right.
Go ahead. So, again, we kind of set the tone. We don't totally control it, as you see. I set mine, I want mine to be the best. But it varies. Sometimes it varies on my mood. Yeah, Friday, I had to go home, I was sick. But I still tried to set the tone in the class before I left. I'm not sure how it worked after that. I think Mr. Hickey was okay. But on most days, you walk in a room and it's you. And the kids respond to you. But you have to really truly be aware as they walk by you. Notice things. Notice, say hi, notice things. Haircuts. I noticed a young lady who just appeared on the hall as she walked by. She was wearing heels. Why are you wearing heels today, Amber? It was her 15th birthday. So I sang happy birthday in my worst voice. But you have to make those connections. But again, this is, you have to put that mask on you first. You have to take care of you. That aromatherapy, it just happened to be something I did during my recovery, and I brought it in. They love it. I have a little back massager, because I have surgery. It helps my back, but once they discovered it, wow, sometimes they want to sit there, but they have to earn it. So yes, we have to take care of us, and if we're good, we can spread cheer.
So in that conversation about emotional intelligence, that's right. I mean, we have to, it starts with us. You know, if we're not, you can't give what you don't have. And the reality of it is we're not robots. We're human beings with struggles and problems and trials. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm keeping 100 most days. I sometimes cry myself all the way to work, right? I cry myself all the way to work, but I know when I walk in the door that I cannot give them what I have to give it to something else. And so I choose to, because I'm a person of faith, I choose to give it to God and move on. But the reality of it is, we have to take care of ourselves first. And so this aromatherapy, yes, it's good for them, but it could be good for you too. That music, Bruno Mars, you might like Bruno Mars, so it might help you get through the day. And so that back massage, yes, it might be for you, but it could also be for the kids. But you have to give something back to yourself, because this is a job that takes a lot. You want to make sure you pour something back into yourself. I think we're stuck. Uh-oh.
I just pulled these. These are major bullet points from one of the articles that you're going to get a link to. And we all know these things. Really, most of what we're saying is stuff you guys already know. It's experience. But get to know your students, given. Protect their self-esteem. That classroom has to be a safe, comfortable environment. And I'm teaching math, and most of the time they don't want to be there anyway. So I have to try to bring cheer, I guess. I have to get them moving. I have to get them happy about being there almost. And I think I've faked it long enough to, it's almost real to me now. But your protection of their self-esteem, they have to know that when they raise their hand, that nobody's going to laugh. I had a kid who actually, I was speaking about something about being a plumber. And he said, "What's a plumber?" And the other kids laughed, and I had to stop that immediately. But, I mean, you would never think that a kid wouldn't know what a plumber was. But the class did get it. We can't laugh no matter what. It's all about learning, and it's all about being comfortable. Building goodwill on good days. And that's what I try to take advantage of. I walk around the hall sometimes with lollipops in my pocket, and I just give them. Sometimes I just see and talk. But you have to talk to them when they're in a good mood, so that when they're not in a good mood, you already have something established. Those lollipops, that's capital. I give a lollipop, and that sometimes gives me the right to go up to that kid later on, even if I don't remember their name, and correct them. because they remember. Listening to them. When you're standing up there, you are learning from them, and I let them know that. I'm not a robot. You're teaching me as well as I'm teaching you, and once they feel they have a little bit of power, a little bit of input, then we can do this part. Then we can do the math. And becoming a popular teacher, that was actually the first bullet in his article. But for me, it's not about being popular. It's about establishing a climate. It's about making the kids feel safe, making them want to learn. And once they do that, if popularity is a byproduct, okay, but I tell them, I don't care if you like me. You just have to do in this classroom what you're supposed to do.
All right, so what is IQ? And this is not a real easy one to read, but you guys have it in front of you. Emotional intelligence is your ability to tap into your own self. And IQ is the total score derived from several standardized tests. It's their intellect. So the reality of it is IQ is pushed heavily in school. We come to school, we think we're supposed to teach them all that cognitive development. But how much time in a 90-minute period are we spending on EQ? So they say bell-to-bell instruction. We have 90 minutes. We're driving that LEQ. That's an essential question. We're driving it. But are we focusing on the other EQ, which is emotional intelligence? Are we focusing on that? Let's reflect really quick. How much time, and I'm not talking about behavior, classroom management and behavior. Put your phone away. Do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm not talking about classroom management. I'm talking about time spent on emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not barking orders. Emotional intelligence is tapping in. How much time do we do? Now, well, what if an administrator comes in and I'm focused on emotional intelligence? Guess what? All we need to do is put it in our lesson plan, right? LEQ and then the other EQ. You can put that, the other EQ. And the other EQ is just as important as the IQ. So let's reflect on that. Just take a moment and reflect on how much time do you really intentionally spend on EQ, intentional. A stop and check in. I know, not to call people out, but I work right next door to Miss Shaw Hicks. Every time those kids walk in the classroom, she stops and checks in with those kids. It's intentional. They know it. They expect it. And she's one of my teacher crushes. I have a lot of teacher crushes in here, which means that I look at you and I'm just amazed, inspired every day. But she's just one of many teacher crushes that I had because of her ability to tap in. And those babies walk out of here certified to do some real jobs. So the IQ is definitely there. It's the EQ sometimes that we struggle with. All right, so a short little quick from Oprah, because if Oprah says it, right?
It must be true.
It must be true. What is my Oprah?
I saw it play.
Did you see it, right?
There was a guy button on the bottom.
Yeah, it was at the bottom.
Go back to the slide.
Go back into present.
Yeah.
It was down here.
And you believe that we should start fostering that emotional IQ in the cradle, actually.
Well, I think that parents, good parenting really means helping a child feel that they're cared about, tuned into, empathized with, and any good parent does that. But if you have that base, that secure base, then you can care about other people. Then you can manage yourself better. So I think that parents are the first tutor in emotional intelligence.
So we can teach ourselves and we can teach our children to have a higher emotional quotient.
Absolutely. And in schools, this is called social emotional learning. There's a lot of it going on. They're hoping to make it national, part of the national
It should
standard.
be national.
I think it should be international.
I think it should be international.
Well,
because I have learned at my school that that is what really matters. I started out looking for one thing, and now I know that having, basically what social emotional learning is developing character and a value system and what a lot of educators now call grit. That thing that allows you to keep going and have resilience in the face of failure and to self-awareness, to know who you are, all of those things, far more important, actually, or certainly equally as important to how well you do in math and science.
Another word for grit is technical cognitive control. I was in a school, second grade classroom in Spanish Harlem. These are kids who live in the projects next to the school, terrible, you know, the drug dealers and
All the worst conditions, yes.
worst conditions you can imagine. Every day, each kid goes to the cubby, gets a little stuff, finds a place to lie down, or puts that animal on their tummy, and watches it rise on the in-breath and fall on the out-breath. Count 1, 2, 3 on the in-breath, 1, 2, 3 on the out-breath. Teacher says this keeps them calm and focused all day long. And it's basically a lesson in mindfulness.
It's a mindful meditation.
And it turns out that from a brain point of view, what you're doing is strengthening the prefrontal cortex, which is the mind's executive center, it's the boss. It's the one that learns, it's where we plan, where we decide, and where we become mindful. And that turns out that if you take kids 4 to 8, measure their ability in this, and then pick them up in their 30s, it predicts their financial success and their health better than IQ or the wealth of the family they grew up in. Really.
Hi,
All right.
YouTubers.
And we don't have the luxury. Is there another one? Okay. And again, that's the clinical, or actually that's the standard. But we don't have the luxury of just having the students when they're 3rd and 4th grade, like they say. We get them, and a lot of times we're trying to undo things that have already been done. But my focus, even though I teach math, is I tell them at the beginning of the year that I can't make you smarter, but I can make you a better student. And most of my focus is on right and wrong, and they know the difference between right and wrong, and what a good student does to be successful. Because I teach honors classes, and they're always, well, don't compare us to honors. And I tell them it's not an intelligence thing. They're not smarter than you are. Most are just more focused, and most will work harder. And it comes down to homework. I tell them, usually my honors kids, they do homework. Most of you guys struggle with that. But as far as what they need is before we do the math, they have to understand why they're there, and they have to understand they're safe, and they have to understand that, and I hate to say this because it sounds, what would be the word, authoritative, but it kind of is. Because I tell them, I'm going to raise you kind of the way my mother raised me. You're going to do the right thing. And once they're comfortable with that, once they're comfortable that I'm going to be consistent, then the math usually comes easy. And even if they don't always get it, they try. And that's the bottom line. A good student will sit, they will try. And if that's the best you can do now, that's what I want.
So, you know, if you're going to be a responsible school, if we're going to be a responsible school, we will not just drive instruction. We will go after the heart, teaching social health, caring, and create them to be contributing citizens. All right, so the theory is all of us, excuse me, hear this voice? That means that it's time for me to stop talking, right? and relax. But we all have gone through school, and most of us has heard about Maslow, Abraham Maslow. He's my guy. Bottom line, his hierarchy of needs. The first one is physiological needs. They cannot hear what we're saying when their stomach is growling. Sick, tired, hungry, not feeling well, don't know where they're going to sleep that night. They cannot hear us. We have to keep in mind that we have to start with physiological needs and work up. And usually learning, I'm talking about the IQ kind of learning, usually happens somewhere around self-actualization. So you have to go through all these levels to get there. And we have 90 minutes to do it. So, I don't know, magic, I don't know what the formula of it is, but it's something that we have to keep in mind. All right, so, because I Ain't Got a Pencil by Joshua T. Dickerson.
Please read that.
Because I feel like using my theater and poetic voice. I woke myself up because we ain't got an alarm clock. Dug in the dirty clothes basket, cause ain't nobody washed my uniform, brushed my hair and teeth in the dark, cause the lights ain't on. Even got my baby sister ready, cause my mama wasn't home. Got us both to school on time, to eat us a good breakfast. Then when I got to class, the teacher fussed, cause I ain't got a pencil.
And I have done that. And when I read that, I mean, smacked me in the face again. Because I just did that within the last 3 weeks. A young man hadn't been coming to school or coming consistently late. And he was a good student. And I'm wondering why things changed and he won't tell me. So I call home and I'm a little bit upset. And I guess Mom could hear that. But they had just found out their grandmother had breast cancer. And Mom was taking all the kids back and forth to school with one car. And he was the last stop. And she was doing her best. And that totally changed how I saw everything. And it really did too give me some capital. Because as things went on, I stayed connected. I called the mother, I called her twice since then, and I've been reaching out to the young man. He hasn't been to school for a few days, so I'm gonna call again and find out what happened. But now, I'm pretty sure that things have settled down. So now, if Mom is on my side, now we can both get with the student and bring him in, because I think he's taking advantage of that, and then they will. So we have to really be super, super conscious of what's going on in their minds and their eyes and in their hearts before we come at them. And I'm sure some people have had some of the same experiences. Anybody?
So the trick is to tap in, but not allow them to make it a crutch.
Right.
So that's the trick. Then I don't know how many years of teaching it takes for us to figure that part out. But the trick is to tap in, to make it relevant to it as being an issue, but to take them from where they are and to raise them up. Because we can't let them live in the I ain't got a pencil mentality.
Right.
We do have to take them somewhere, and that's where the emotional intelligence comes from. You know, how to teach them coping skills, how to prioritize, and that is going to take some work. And there's a formula that I don't know that we all know, but it's a day-by-day thing.
And the formula really changes with the kid. Mr. Bailey?
Well, going back to that point, this is the same kind of call you made about 2 days ago, 2 school days ago, to find out the young lady was coming to class, all of a sudden stopped, and I wanted to know from the parent what was going on. And she quickly started to cry because her oldest son was shot the night before.
Mm.
So my call was insignificant in the life of this family. So the question is, do I continue to call and berate them or hassle them, or do I give them some space? So I decided to give the family some space. Eventually the girl did come back to school. But I never got the question answered why she wasn't coming to school before the incident. But it really wasn't important. Now she's coming to school. That's the important part.
And I really would like this to be a sharing, so go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez.
I usually, before I make any phone calls, I don't really make that many phone calls because I have good students. But when I have to make phone calls, I check first with their counselors because they usually know that little part of information that we're missing that will give us a lot of input in what to say, what not to say to the families.
And that's a good point, because since that, I always approach a student that I'm having a problem with, even if I think I know it, with, is there something I should know? What's going on? And that usually pulls something out of them. And if it doesn't, at least I've asked, so when I call home, I can say, I asked. And at that point, if the parent shares, then life is good again. But I think you'll enjoy this activity.
Anyone else want to share?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't this year, but a student last year. He had really sloughed off. Like the first month of school, he was really one of the top students, and he really dropped off like very drastically. Well, I gave him some space for a little while, and I finally got a chance while the rest of the class was doing a activity. I sat down with him, and he shared that he was a senior. He had, at the age of 18, which he turned in September, that was the day he got kicked out of his house. And so he was living with friends, and it was becoming more difficult because here it was about the holiday time, you know, and he missed his family, but he wasn't allowed to, they didn't want him. And it was very significant for that student's learning that it ended up where while we were in the class, I had to not force him to participate during class, but I would hand him his work, and he would do it when he could throughout the day and then bring it back to me, and that's how we got through the rest of the school year.
And I just found out Saturday, these things don't end when they graduate.
No.
I met a young lady coming out of, actually I saw her over the summer, and she was with her mother who had been having substance issues, and she was happy to be with her mother. They were sharing an apartment. This was back in June or July, and I just saw her Saturday at the dollar store out in Marydale. She's working there, so I was initially happy, and then I found out that her mother relapsed. She left her with all the bills, and she's sleeping out of her car. And she's looking for a place to stay. So one of the things I have to do today is I'm going to go looking for resources. So it doesn't just stop when they leave here. I mean, if we can give them the tools, they're going to need them for a lifetime.
Our kids carry a lot more than books in their book bag every day. And like the slide says, it's both literally and figuratively. That they're carrying things that we assume are books because it's called a book bag. So we have to turn on that sixth sense and possibly try to discern or perceive what might be standing in the way of their success. So, in order to set and maintain classroom climate, we must feel the chill. We must feel it, like on the inside, feel it, that something is just not right. So, I have a book bag here. The goal was to have a whole lot of book bags, and everybody have a book bag, but you know, this is how this weekend went. So we have one book bag, and I need a volunteer who's daring enough to put your hand in this book bag and pull out what's in there. Okay, Mr. Gonzalez. And we just want to talk about, now we are formulating an opinion based on what we see, right? We don't know all of the facts, but we're using what we have to try to figure it out. Some, what, deductive reasoning?
Okay, we have a towel. That's clean.
That's a good thing to check though.
Yeah.
That would have been the first thing I checked. Is it clean?
This is an EpiPen. Probably the person is allergic. Jeans. Ramen noodles. Cutter. Bandana.
A million questions.
And
What was that piece of paper?
this piece of paper, let me tell you what it is.
Tag.
The bandana, the tag.
Okay.
So gang related? Maybe. It's a small person, it's size S. It's a little bandit. Okay, so we should.
All right, let's start with what's missing from the book.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing school related, at least he's working on a project in arts. So, yeah, no school stuff.
He's caring, he's caring.
He's probably in PE, just changing clothes, and he's gonna take a shower or something.
Might be PE, but I'm wondering is that they're changing clothes for tomorrow? They have a towel
Or they're only.
and no books.
Yeah.
Towels.
Since they had.
What about the ramen noodles?
Yeah, it is good.
We feed them here.
That's dinner.
That's dinner.
Yeah.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Could be an athlete too, and that's his background for us after school, and he's in the swim team.
Could be, so again, it depends on us knowing the student.
Yeah, but he has like health issues.
So maybe he's not an athlete.
Yeah, I mean like,
But why you need it?
he could be a kid with.
Maybe he has a job after school.
Mm.
Maybe he works at the grocery store and he's gotta like cut
Slice up
pallets
soccer
and
nets.
unload stuff.
I wanna magnify what she said. Wendy said it's kinda amazing the immediate mindset we go to. I mean, did we, now, it could have been constructed by the nature of this conversation, you know, you have to consider those things, but, I like you up here, though, Mr. Gonzalez. Yes, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. She said, it's amazing the immediate mindset we go to. Is our first thought negative? Yeah. Or was there something in there that gave us pause, like a bandana? Now, can I say something about this bandana? This is about to be real transparent. I have a 12-year-old son in Central, okay? Yeah, right. Did y'all feel that in your gut? Right? He, on the other day, he said, Mom, do you have any bandanas? I said, why? He was like, oh, I was just wondering. I said, oh, okay. And I let it go. Now, I thought that he wanted a bandana for our dog, because our dog wears bandanas. You know, little cute ones when you get the haircut around the neck. And I thought that's what he wanted it for, because he had like all different colors of the little dog bandanas, right? But the other day, we went to the store and he was like, Mom, I need a bandana. So I'm like, wait, why a bandana? So I said to him, I said, why do you want a bandana? He was like, oh, they're cool. So I'm like, oh no, oh my heart, oh I can't deal with this, I can't deal with this, I can't. I said, no, you don't need a bandana, they're game affiliated. He was like, well Mom, no, I just like the style. I mean, it's just nice. I think it'll go in my outfits. I'm like, oh, I can't. I told my husband, I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. Can we homeschool? I'm like, but this child comes from a 2-parent home, you know, goes to church every Sunday. I don't know that he knows about games, you know, so could it be ill-intentioned that he wants a bandana or has one in the book bag? It could still be, but what?
It's like any adult, we have to keep our senses not on one thing, but in a range. So it could be good, but you also have to think about what if it's not. And I guess sometimes kids think of that as being authoritative, but as a parent, pretty much that's what we have to do. That's part of our job. We have to kind of raise them. My wife went off to college because she didn't like to do that. But I think I'm here because, to me, I want to know who they are. The math is cool. I love the math, and we get into it. But they're young people first. And when you see them like that, hopefully you gain their trust. And from there we can do the educating. And
educating the mind without the heart is no education at all. And the man above the man, in regards to education, said Aristotle. So that's just the bottom line. We have to go after the things that really, really matter, open our eyes and perceive. We can't fix the world. No, we can't fix every student. Caseload is 160 students, 150 students, 90 students, whatever the caseload is. We can't fix them all, but guess what? We can go after as many as we can. All right, so this is a little chilling. It stings me every time I hear it.
I wish my teacher knew how to secure it. I don't feel like going home because I'm just going to hear drama and yelling, and it gets annoying.
Wait a minute, you guys. I can't take it. I gotta use the sound. Not very loud. All right.
I wish my teacher knew how insecure I am.
I don't feel like going home because I'm just going to hear drama and yelling, and it gets annoying.
I wish my teacher knew I live with 8 people and it's hard to get all of us fed.
I wish my teacher knew my parents are
are split up and may cause pain to one another.
I wish my teacher knew that I also have other classmates that give me homework, and along with school activities.
I wish my teacher knew I have opinions too. I wish my teacher knew I haven't seen my mom in 3 months, and I think about it every day.
I wish my teacher knew I don't feel safe at school.
I wish my teacher knew to read my body language. I look like I want to kill myself every day.
I wish my teachers knew I do not have it easy at home. My mom cannot move as much anymore. My stepdad comes home late, and I'm the oldest, and I have 2 younger sisters. I have to clean and cook. Then I go to work and help my mom out with her medicine bills.
I wish my teacher knew I was always afraid of teachers, ever since one made me cry in class and basically told everyone I was poor.
I wish my teacher knew it's not my fault things are going bad in your life. Don't take it out on me.
I have a lot of health problems, so I miss school a lot because of doctors and therapy.
I wish my teacher knew. My dad has no job, so we're eating off of food stamps.
I wish my teacher knew sometimes I can't do my work at home or stay after school because my mom has an illness, so I have to go home and help her cook, clean, take care of my little nieces. If I did my work, I wouldn't sleep much.
I wish my teachers knew answering my questions through sarcasm does not help.
I wish my teacher knew how stressful it is to have 6 homework assignments due the next day and also have practice and not go to sleep until 12 a.m.
I wish my teacher knew that I'm going through a very emotional phase and I'm having a hard time in my classes because of it, and I don't know how to return.
I wish my teacher knew I cut and suffer from depression.
I wish my teacher knew how stressed out I am because my brother is in jail, my mom left, she hits my younger siblings, and my dad works too much. My grades are failing, and I do bad things to myself because it makes me feel in control.
I wish my teacher knew that having all CP/AP/honors classes, balancing 2 jobs, stressing about college and about grades, and taking what people say about my sexual orientation makes me want to give up sometimes.
I wish my teacher knew I feel stupid compared to the rest of the world, and it doesn't help the teachers pick on me.
I wish my teacher knew I'm verbally abused at home and that I was abused as a child.
I wish my teacher knew I feel like never breathing again.
I wish my teacher knew I'm currently battling cancer and still required to maintain high grades. No C's, no D's, or F's. My parents tell me that every day.
I wish my teacher knew I already feel like a failure. I don't need you to make me feel worse. I need encouragement.
I wish my teacher knew I don't think like they do.
I wish my teacher knew I get to first period late because I have to get my 2 little sisters ready for school and make them breakfast, and still I have to get myself ready. I wake up at 3:25 a.m.
I wish my teacher knew I don't like going home because I never know what's going to happen.
I wish my teacher knew I suffer from low self-esteem and I don't believe in myself.
I wish my teacher knew we have different classes.
I wish my teacher knew sometimes there is no food at home, so I have to wait till the next school day to eat.
I wish my teacher knew I can't be excited for their class if they aren't.
I wish my teacher knew I am under an extreme amount of pressure because of my parents only expect the best for me.
I wish my teacher knew my mom left me and I grew up with a single
I wish my teacher knew I can't always make it on time to first period because I have to take my little brother to preschool out in Conwood. My mom is very sick, so I have to help her
I
out.
wish my teacher knew guilt trip into class just because it's off.
I have no self-esteem.
That my grandpa got a gun pulled on him right in front of my face and
I wish my teacher knew how to treat students nicely.
I wish my teacher knew I do actually attempt my homework. I just accept the zeros because I get discouraged when they say they don't want a complete homework.
I feel alone and scared, and I wish the teachers would talk to us about stuff and work and work.
I wish my teacher knew I make mistakes and I love when they let me fix them.
I wish my teacher knew the challenges she throws at me prepare me for college and truly endear me to academics.
I wish my teacher knew I appreciate everything she does.
Thanks for doing this. It's really nice to know some teachers care.
Could anybody relate to any of those?
Yep.
I mean, could you feel yourself as a kid saying those same things? I know I share a lot. They always ask me about my childhood. I grew up in Philadelphia, not a great growing up. My wife grew up in the projects. And I share with them. And once I'm human, I'm transparent, they know how I feel and what I did in those situations, and I let them question me. And I pretty much tell them the truth, even the bad things, with the moral to the story. They open up, and they trust you. Little things like walking by them, saying something, just tapping them on the shoulder when no response, just tapping them on the shoulder as you walk by. Those things work. But I think that empathy, compassion, equal, better education. If you have those two things, then you can link that right to the equation for better education.
We have 5 minutes.
I say we give 5 minutes to you guys. Is there anything you'd like to contribute, donate? Because we're going to be doing this 2 more times, and anything you share, we'd be willing to share.
So there's some articles here that Mr. Smith has put there for a resource. And there's some strategies here, but I just want to make sure that you guys see these pictures. This is going on every single day, and I know you're tired.
It's emotionally draining.
But this is a week for rest. And y'all want to come back on the 27th and jump back in there again. He's with you, I'm with you. We just have to support one another.
Quick question.
Yes, Mr. Cecil?
There are IQ tests, are there EQ tests?
Yes. And I can send you a
I
link.
mean, by age.
Yes.
Like, so if you're in 4th grade, 3rd grade, you could say, okay, this 11th grader is functioning on a 4th grade emotional level.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem, they're struggling.
I actually have a few tests with me. What I'll do is, I was talking to Dr. Carter about this, possibly putting these things on the PBS website. There's a whole curriculum on mindfulness, just little small things you could throw into your lesson for the remainder of the school year. There are IQ tests for teachers, EQ tests for teachers, EQ tests for students, ways to tap in, and a quick test, 5 questions, 3 questions. Yes, and we could definitely send you guys those resources. I'll follow up with Mr. Bailey and Dr. Carter on how we can continue to push this out. If you guys can either click on the link, questions or comments, or go to the QR code and just questions or comments for us. And if you want to share out right now, questions or comments in these last few minutes, can you give us some parting words, Mr. Smith?
I just realized that I have to, when I really, really care about them, when they know I really, really care about them, you can pretty much do anything to them, and they'll pretty much follow you anywhere. But I think too that we need to do that with each other. Because if we're gonna put out this much, because I don't have kids at home. My emotional investment is all here. But you guys don't have that luxury. You give everything you have at home to your kids, and then we ask for more here. So I think that we have to support each other in that regard even here. Not just supporting the kids, but supporting each other. Yes, Ms.
It's actually the other way around. We give everything here, and then we have to get some more to give to our children.
And that's true too. But we don't have an endless fountain, but we kind of have to develop one. Because they're going to come to us, and we have to be there.
All right, and so thank you again for the opportunity to share. Mr. Turner, do you have anything?
Again, this wasn't classroom management.
No.
This was climate.
This is climate,
Yeah.
and that's totally different.
Mr. Turner, and then Mr. Bailey has 2 announcements for us.
No, I think Mr. Smith summarized it real well. You know, they'll take your criticism, they'll take your demands. Just make sure that you're the first one there to acknowledge when they do well.
Yes.
That's really the defining moment for them. You're willing to be there to acknowledge and appreciate. They'll absorb a whole lot more than you ever gave them credit for. So just balance, make sure that equation is balanced. Next thing, you got 5 minutes between sessions.
And they're like boomerangs.
Yeah.
They keep coming back. If they care about you, they will come back.
I just wanted to thank Mr.
Say that again?
I was in Wawa the other day, I was getting air in my tire, and there was a kid in there already, so I was waiting for him to come out. And as I'm pulling in, he like stopped, like backed his car up, and I was like, oh, did you need to, back up into here? And he was like, oh no, you were my teacher, like 8 years ago.
I had that at Red Nurse.
I didn't know who he was. I had no idea, he was completely different.
But you made an impression on him.
He recognized me from inside my car, which
Yes.
is completely intimidating out.
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
I met up with a student that was in my class years ago. And I didn't quite remember his name, but I saw him in acting. And I said, I don't quite remember his name, but what is it? And excuse my language, but this is the way he responded. He said, my name is asshole. I said, why do you say that? I said, because that's what I was when I was in your class, and I didn't pay attention to what you were saying.
Wow.
That's
That's the bottom line.
So, you make an impression on them.
Yeah, and they grow.
Yeah. So,
We all know that.
Thank you.
sorry for the, that's what.
No, that was important.
Can I just have just two quick announcements? I know you gotta go to the next one. Two quick announcements. We thank Mr. Smith and Dr. Chandler for actually putting this presentation together. It is great when one of us or two of us are in the same mindset and we're all walking along with them. And you guys did a great job in this presentation. And I want to thank you from the PBS family. And I think they did a great job. It was warm, even though over here in this window is a little cold. But in any event, I got two announcements. First of all, PBS will be sponsoring another workshop tomorrow morning on human trafficking. So as you can see, PBS tries to make the climate of the school. This is sort of unsaid, untalked about around in the Dover area, but we are sponsoring. So make sure that you register or attend that workshop tomorrow on human trafficking. Our next PBS meeting will be our Christmas meeting on the 12th of December. You're all invited to come in for the festivities. You can learn some more stuff about what PBS is doing in terms of climate. We are a climate committee of teachers who are doing special things for students, not just to reward them when they do well, but also to make sure that they can do things that they don't do well at, okay, through your classrooms. So we thank all of you for attending. Thank Mr. Smith. We thank Ms. Chandler. Wonderful job. And have a great, great holiday. One last one, and I want to hit your hearts on this one. I received an email last night from Presley Ridge, which is an adoption agency here in town. And we're going to put this on the link along with the resources that you were talking about on the PBS link. If you would like to contribute to some kids, there are 33 young people in town, ages 2 through 18, who do not have a Christmas coming. Presley Ridge is having some trouble getting resources this year. If it's in your heart, whatever you give, you can see Dr. Carter and myself, or look on our website. It goes from the range of a 2-year-old dollar all the way up to a card for an 18-year-old, a gift card for an 18-year-old, whatever is on your heart. But we do want to bless these children during Christmas. These are the students that do not have families. And we just wanted to make that announcement to you. See me during the day, see Dr. Carter during the day, look at our link. We've got a little bit of time as a school, but I think Dover High could bless these 33 young people with some type of gift for the holidays. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a happy holiday, folks.